You're listening to Talk Amongst Yourself, the solo space where we pause, reflect, and get radically honest. I'm Kayleen. Today's episode isn't a eulogy, it's a reckoning. Charlie Kirk was a polarizing figure, praised by the far right, criticized by the left, and I think quite possible to ignore. As a moderate liberal, I'm not here to mock his death or to sanitize his legacy. Matter of fact, I honestly didn't even know who he was until he was shot, and that is the truth. But I am here to name what he built, what he believed, and what it cost us culturally. Facts aren't partisan, and clarity isn't cruelty. Let me start off by naming where I got my information before we get into this. Through my research, this is where I found my information. It came from Wikipedia, the conversation on MSN, people on MSN, cbc.ca, which is out of Canada, USA Today, Arizona Republic, which is part of MSN, and distractify.com. So let's get into this. Charlie Kirk was born in 93 in Illinois. He dropped out of college to pursue political activism full-time. At age 18, he co-founded Turning Point USA, a nonprofit aimed at promoting conservative values on high school and college campuses. TPUSA became a major force in youth politics, known for its Prove Me Wrong campus debates and viral content. Kirk was a close ally of President Donald Trump, speaking at multiple, and I mean multiple, national conventions and helping mobilize young voters. Let's get into what he opposed. He opposed abortion, gun control, and LGBTQ plus rights. He called the trans movement one of the most destructive social contagions in human history. The trans movement. I'm kind of confused because I don't know that I've ever really thought of it as a movement. I just thought of it as a normal part of society that people have had to hide behind for a really, really long time. And maybe we should stop worrying about what other people are doing and mind our business. If something like that makes them happy, so be it. Who cares? Because quite frankly, does it affect you? Does it affect your paycheck? Does it affect anything else? No, quite frankly, it doesn't. No one says you can't choose who you can hang out with, who you can socialize with. I mean, that is part of the problem, I think, that is happening. And it's not just a Republican thing, and it's not just a Democratic thing. It's a human thing. I mean, really, people just kind of need to step back and let people live their lives. I mean, honestly, if you want to be a Bible thumper, fine, then go for it. If I want to be a pagan and that's what, resonates within me, fine, go for it. That's my business. It's not yours. And at the end of the day, does it really matter who ends up in whose house or who ends up in whose bed? I'm going to say probably not, because quite frankly, that's none of your business either. And if you're not there, how the hell is that affecting you? It just boggles my mind that our society is still so worried about what other people are doing instead of minding their own houses. You know what I mean? Like, nobody ever put you in charge of anybody else's soul. So maybe we ought to stop worrying about other people's souls and kind of like worry about what we're doing and how we're appearing to society and what are we doing to help society. I mean, that might be the biggest question. Has nothing to do with whether or not I agree with what you're doing. Because, hey, there's going to be people I don't agree with all the time. But guess what? I don't have to hang out with you. And at the end of the day, I don't even have to go home with you. So anyway, let me get off my little soapbox there and get back to what I was talking about. So not only did he call the trans movement one of the most destructive social contagions in human history, he also criticized the Civil Rights Act of 1964, calling it a mistake. How the hell can you call civil rights for people a mistake? I mean, to me, that is just stupid. That's just somebody wanting to keep down the masses. And meaning, let me just clarify what I mean by that, by the masses, not necessarily the masses. Let's just say keeping people underneath them, calling them master. That's what they wanted. That's what they miss the most. Well, you know what? We're not going back to that. I don't care what anybody says. We are not going back to that at all, over my dead body, because that is something I will definitely fight for. To criticize Martin Luther King, who was part of this and who was also assassinated. Quite frankly, it's interesting how Kirk's life has ended in the end. He also advocated for Christian nationalism and traditional gender roles, which is all part of my little soapbox here. It's crazy. It's crazy because Christianity is not the only religion on the planet. Sorry, hate to burst your bubble. If that's what you want to do, you want to be a Christian, so be it. Be a good Christian all through, all through just Sunday, because every Sunday you can repent, and then just through the week you can be a bad Christian, and then Sundays again you're okay for another week. Um, in my opinion, I don't care what you do. I don't care who you praise. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you praise Satan. That's your problem, and that is your soul. And in the end, you have to deal with that, not me. I'm not responsible for you. You're responsible for yourself. Kirk also promoted conspiracy theories about COVID-19, the 2020 election, and cultural Marxism. I mean, seriously, he sent buses of students to the January 6th rally that led to the Capitol attack. And yes, it was an attack. I don't care what any of you say. I mean, what about the dead officer? What about the other people? I just cannot even believe that, these people were pardoned, but yet we got these same people rounding up other people as ICE agents. How? How is this even a possibility? How do you even give these people a job without even training them? You handed these people authority and a gun to do what they want to do. We all know who's behind those masks. It's all those January 6th people. Let's be real. Let's be real. We all know this. It's not a matter of, oh, do you think it is? We all know. And that's the problem. We all know, but nobody wants to do a goddamn thing about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to just sweep it under the cover, under the rug, like we've always swept things under the rug. I'm for one, I'm tired of sweeping shit under the rug. That's what we do, though, in our society, which is very, very sad. I mean, now we have the whole world looking at us wondering what else we're sweeping under the rug. Anyway, he didn't just challenge liberal ideas. He weaponized culture war rhetoric and called it free speech. Okay? TPUSA created the Professor Watch List, which targeted academics accused of leftist propaganda. Let me say that again. He created the Professor Watch List. Professor, do you understand what I'm saying? A watch list for people at the college level that are teaching college students. He put them on a list for what they were teaching. That is crazy. That is pure hatred, if you ask me. And it's not leftist propaganda. It's actually education. His rhetoric contributed to the normalization of political extremism on campuses. Kirk's death, shot during a campus event, it was definitely tragic. Definitely tragic, but emblematic of rising political violence. I mean, look at where we are right now. We shouldn't even be here. The fact that, he got assassinated, that is unacceptable. It's unbelievable to me, because no one, and I mean no one, should ever be killed for how they believe, whether or not I believe with him or not, because we know for a fact that I do not agree with him. I did not follow him. I don't care about him. However, I do care that someone shot him, and that is not okay. Because regardless of how I feel about the man and his ideas, the man had people who loved him, okay? The man had a family. And that is nobody's right to take that away. I'm sorry. It's nobody's right to take anybody's life away. And I truly feel that. It doesn't matter how it's taken, whether it's an assassination, whether it is somebody murdering another human being. I mean, that happens every day. It happens every day. But somehow, there's this big martyrdom push for Kirk's assassination. I hate to say this, but people are getting killed every day. I don't see them put on a pedestal. I don't see us trying to freaking fly flags half mast. I mean, let's not fly flags for people who are actually in the government doing stuff because they're Democrats. So we don't care about them. That's too bad. I mean, we're sitting here making jokes about shit like that. That is so messed up. Look at what happened to Nancy Pelosi's husband, and our so-called president made a joke about him. That is messed up. The man, for God's sake, was attacked with a hammer, but it's okay for Trump to go out there and joke about shit like that. But then you hear other people say stuff that wasn't even really polarizing. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel did not say anything that was completely out of line. But here we are just firing these people, and we're letting a president dictate what our television is doing. That is a problem, people. You need to start paying attention. That is what fascism is all about, and that is how it starts. It starts with silencing your voice. Do you understand? People's voices. It doesn't matter if you're on the right. It doesn't matter if you're on the left. This man is going to start silencing everyone. And when that happens, it is going to be too late. You know what I'm saying? And now here we go with Kirk's legacy. It's now being refamed by both sides as martyrdom on the right, cautionary tale on the left. It's funny how the right complained about cancel culture, but look what is happening to TV figures, right? I just said that speak out against Trump. He is basically controlling our media. Do you understand what that means? Do you understand? If it continues, it will be an end to our free speech. I think both sides can actually agree with that. And when our free speech is gone, it ain't going to matter. It ain't going to matter if you're an advocate for weapons or if you're an advocate against weapons. You probably won't have them anymore, just letting you know. I could care less. I do believe that there should be stricter rules to having guns that, I don't know, maybe people should be insured in case they shoot somebody in the back that they're not supposed to. I don't know. Jesus, remember when we got insurance on cars and people flipped out about that? It's the same thing. Come on, people, let's get it together. Nobody wants to take your guns. But however, you better start paying attention because you may not have a gun. Anyway, I think this is going to come down to whether or not you're going to be on the right side of history or you're going to be on the wrong side of history. And I'm sorry, treating people like trash, kicking them out of the country, holding them in cages, that is the wrong damn side. Sending them to other countries. These people are sending American citizens out of the country to God knows where, some ass prison someone don't even know about. It's crazy. That is not acceptable, people. It's just not acceptable. I believe that you can condemn political violence and still critique the culture that made him a hero. And there should be no consequence for that. Just as you should be able to critique any standing president without consequence. But you see, it seems everyone has an agenda here. And that agenda, pay attention to what I'm saying to you, that agenda is currently greed and power. Hear me again. The current agenda of what is happening in the United States is centered around greed and power. Just take a look at what has happened the last 9 months. Go ahead, do some research, see what it looks like. Greed and power. It's all about money. Look at what happened with the stock market, people. Now, that is your greed right there. There you go. How many people does it take to control the rest of the United States? Obviously, it takes a room full of 10 people kissing this president's ass. Anyway, let's just look at how Rome fell. Okay? Charlie Kirk wasn't a provocateur. He was a strategist. He understood that shaping culture shapes politics. And whether you agreed with him or not, he changed the way young people engage with ideology. But don't forget, clarity matters. He didn't just challenge the left, okay? He undermined civil rights, weaponized misinformation, and built a platform that rewarded outrage over truth. That is facts. You cannot dispute that. Go ahead and do your own research and you tell me what you find and come back and let me know if you have a problem with what I'm saying. Because even if you have a problem with what I'm saying, I'm just going to let you know I don't give a damn, because this is my free speech platform. And if you don't like it, don't listen. It's that simple. So today isn't going to be a really long one, which it hasn't normally been, but it's very polarizing. And it's really hard to talk about this subject because what is happening right now to our comedians, our late night shows, anybody who speaks out against this man, what is happening to them is not okay. And it's like, we're just going to sit around and we're just going to let this happen. We're just going to watch this happen from this president who seems to believe that he is a king and he could come in and take over everything. Look at what's happening. All these television stations are yielding to his wishes by firing these people, supposedly indefinitely suspending their shows. No, that's firing them. That is not suspending their shows. That is firing them. It's ridiculous. I mean, who was it that just fired the last black reporter? Oh, was it MSNBC? I don't even know. That is crazy. Get it together, people. Get it together. Because flat out, the people who have actually benefited most in this world from what people are actually afraid of, you know, I am so like wound up right now. I'm wound up so tight I can't even speak. I can't even think straight because I'm just like so pissed off at the intolerant imbeciles out there that are just trying to put this guy on a pedestal who really wasn't a good guy. He really wasn't. And I don't care what anybody says. That is my opinion and I'm sticking to it and it's not going to change. Period. But we had a run for our president, to end rights, right? I can't even think about it. I can't even think about it. What has happened? You know, um, it's like people just think that women's suffrage, you know, was nothing. You know who benefited from women's suffrage in the beginning? White women. You do realize that white women were not able to vote, right? White women were also supposed to stay home barefoot in the kitchen pregnant. And you do know that that is where these people think you ought to be, right? Like they think you shouldn't even have the right to vote. So y'all better wake up, because if you don't wake up, we are going to find ourselves somewhere that we don't want to be, somewhere that we don't want to be. That is, I don't want to be there. I just don't. I don't want to end up in a fascism state and be Anne Frank up in a freaking attic hiding for my life, writing about what is happening. I don't want to be that person, but we very well can be if we don't get it together, people. I don't care if you're on the right. I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're a moderate. I don't care if you're far left. I don't care if you're far right. We have got to get it together as the human race. Because right now, I'm telling you, man, if I was an alien and I came down here, I'd just blow up the whole goddamn planet and start all over. Because right now, it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I just can't even wrap my brain around the things that are happening. I had to take some time off because I was just really, really overwhelmed. I was really overwhelmed with a lot of things that were going on. And not only did I take myself out of the workplace for a couple weeks, to go on vacation, but I took myself away from the world as well because, and that's been going on longer. I mean, I've had to stay away from the news. I think I went on a month hiatus because I just couldn't deal with what was happening in our world. I'm one of those people that feels other people's feelings, and sometimes that can be overwhelming. And it's bad enough that I got my own feelings to deal with, but when I have to deal with a crowd of people, I have a hard time. And I know I'm not the only one, and I know those people that are very sensitive to others, these empaths. Um, you get what I'm saying. And it's tough. It's like a mother at home with 5 kids having to deal with that. That's what it's like, all the noise, and there's just so much noise. There's so much noise going through my head all the time. And I'm sure I got ADHD. But I'm completely overwhelmed at times, and I just had to take a break. I just had to take a break. And I just think that I don't think that there's room, I guess, for um, people to truly, I guess, hate on each other the way that we do. Um, I first wanted to get into that uh, with women. I talked about it, and I may have talked about it on my other show, how, it's good to see women support other women instead of women fighting against other women, which has truly been how we were brought up. And I don't even know where I'm going with all this right now. My brain is just all over the place because there's just so much to talk about. But here I am saying, oh, this isn't going to really be a long show, but here I am, right? So I don't know. Let me wind that up and let me get right back to where I was. I just want us as humans to be civilized, to get it together. Because the way we're going, people, we are going to end up blowing ourselves up, period. I'm not too sure that we as a society even deserve to be here anymore. I mean, look at what we've done to Mother Earth. I mean, I was walking down the street, and I looked at the street, and I was like, wow, we just covered up the earth with our asphalt, with our houses, with everything that we've done. What about the plants that needed to grow there? We've just decided that they can grow elsewhere, just like we decided animals could go elsewhere, right? In their natural habitat. There's just so much that is happening right now. But anyway, let me get back to this Kirk thing real quick. But I will tell you in my closing. So if you don't agree with him, I don't either. If you're tired of people putting this man on a pedestal, I hear you. And if you've been gaslit into thinking that calling out harm makes you intolerant, you are not the problem. You are the boundary. Listen, you're not the problem. You're the boundary. And that is a good thing. You know why? Because boundaries should never, ever apologize for existing. Ever. Anyway, I'll be back next Sunday. I have no idea with what yet. But until then, stay soft, stay brave, stay grounded, keep speaking your truth. Keep speaking your opinions. Whether people agree with them or not, it does not matter. Keep speaking your opinions and keep talking amongst yourself.